Single mom discovers incredible truth about waiter. On first flight, his life-changing gesture. Emma clutched her armrest tighter, the steely grip reflecting the turbulence inside her heart. Here she was, a single mother on her way to her estranged mother's wedding, the weight of her 2 jobs pressing down on her like a storm cloud. The packed plane breathed around her, buzzing with life, yet all she felt was the undertow of anxiety and regret swirling in her chest. Beside her, her sassy teenage daughter, Jessica, scrolled through her phone, missing the depth of Emma's internal storm. "Mom, relax. It's a wedding, not a funeral," Jessica teased, glancing at her mom with that typical teenage eye roll. Emma forced a smile, hiding her frustration and sadness beneath it. As they maneuvered through the crowded aisles, the vibrant atmosphere of laughter and chatter felt like a mockery of her trail of sacrifices. Each paycheck earned at her 2 jobs just made her family feel more like a burden than a blessing. Then came Matt. He navigated the aisle, a young waiter serving drinks with a humble demeanor that piqued Emma's interest. Their eyes met as he approached, and for a brief moment, she saw a glimmer of shared struggle. "Can I get you anything?" he asked, genuine curiosity dancing in his eyes. Emma scoured her mind for a response, but Jessica jumped in, ordering a soda with dramatic flair. "My mom's too stressed to make decisions," she quipped, and Emma let out a reluctant laugh. As Matt served their drinks, he paused to speak with another passenger. Emma's ears perked up as she caught snippets of his dreams of becoming a pilot, each word pulling at her heart. The conversation painted a vivid picture of sacrifices, of dreams held tightly against the iron chains of financial hardship. "That's so cool," Emma spoke before thinking, drawn in by Matt's passion. "Do you really think you can make it?" With a spark in his eye, Matt shared how late nights were spent studying old textbooks and dreaming of the skies. Emma couldn't help but feel a connection, their aspirations aligned like 2 stars navigating the dark. But just as that honest conversation ignited hope, a wealthy passenger interjected, his voice dripping with condescension. "Dreams don't pay the bills, kid. You're wasting your time." The words cut through the air like a knife. Emma's heart raced with indignation. She clenched her fists. "Excuse me," she interjected, elevating her voice. "His dreams matter. They matter." The confrontation sparked a flicker of admiration in Matt's eyes. The weight of shared dreams hung between them like an open sky, stretching into endless possibilities. Matt poured his heart out, the barriers between them dissolved with each word. She could feel his passion mingle with her own desperation, their souls intertwining in an unspoken resonance. And just as their spirits began to soar, they heard the announcement of their descent. Emma's heart dropped. Her fleeting connection with Matt was fraying at the seams. As she braced for the hard reality of her family's situation, a twist of fate unraveled before her. Just before they disembarked, Matt revealed that he had orchestrated a surprise for Emma's family, something he believed could restore old bonds. "Wait, what do you mean?" Emma's mind raced. Could this humble waiter really hold the key to her fractured past? The plane touched down, but Emma's thoughts spun with uncertainty. Would she embrace the kindness of a newfound ally, or let the shadows of her past keep her from that sunny horizon ahead? Emma's heart pounded as she and Jessica shuffled through the airport terminal. The noise of travelers rushing to their gates felt like a constant reminder of the ticking clock. Excited chatter mixed with the distant roar of luggage carts, creating a cacophony that matched her anxiety. "We're going to be late," Jessica groaned, tugging at her mom's arm. I know, Emma replied, glancing at her watch. Her mind whirled back to Matt. His promise lingered like a whisper of hope. What had he meant? What sort of surprise could he possibly have for her family? Each question spiraled deeper into uncertainty. "Could you just focus? Please?" Jessica's tone was a blend of impatience and annoyance. "You're acting weird." Emma took a deep breath, shaking off the haze that clouded her thoughts. She turned to Jessica, squaring her shoulders. "I'm sorry. It's just a lot right now, you know? Jessica softened a little. This wedding is big for you too. Just remember, it's about you and Grandma, okay? Not about Matt or anyone else. As they finally approached the edge of the terminal, a flood of emotions hit Emma. The memories of her childhood flooded back, the holidays spent with her mother, the laughter, the tears, everything that had once been perfect before life complicated it all. Her mother, Sylvia, was warm but opinionated. The rift between them had grown over time, fueled by misunderstandings and distance. Emma had made choices that had led her here alone, stood between old dreams and present realities. When they stepped outside, a warm breeze greeted them, a stark contrast to the chilly tension they had left behind. Emma's heart soared just a touch, thinking of a fresh start or perhaps even reconciliation. "Mom, look." Jessica pointed toward the line of taxis. "Let us hurry." They dashed over to a cab, and as they hopped in, Emma stole a glance at the bustling street. The sights and sounds felt both foreign and nostalgic, a blend of new beginnings and old scars. Within moments, they were on their way. "Do you think Grandma's ready for us?" Jessica asked, her eyes glued to the window as they passed by shops and street vendors. "Ready or not, here we come," Emma answered, though her heart skipped a beat. Would her mother truly be ready to bridge the chasm between them? But as they approached the wedding venue, a stunning garden illuminated by fairy lights, a knot formed in Emma's stomach. What if her mother had moved on without her? What if that deep wound could never heal? Just then, her phone buzzed. It was a message from Matt, his name lighting up her screen like a beacon in the storm. "Meet me at the coffee shop across the street after the wedding. I have something important to show you." Emma felt a rush of emotions. Could this be related to the surprise he had mentioned? Could he truly hold the access to a new chapter in her life? As they stepped out of the taxi and walked toward the venue, she felt a wave of determination wash over her. Maybe she could face her past. Embracing it would be the first step toward healing. When they entered the garden, Emma spotted her mother across the room. The laughter and smiles buzzed around her like a dream, but the sight of Sylvia sent a pang of apprehension through her. Would she really take that step to reconnect? Would she listen? Yet, amidst the swirling doubts and emotions, a flicker of hope surged. The possibilities were endless. With that thought anchoring her, Emma took a deep breath. Today would be about more than just a wedding. It could be the beginning of something new, and somewhere in that bustling garden, amid the soft music and warm light, she felt the weight of the world shift just slightly, a whisper of connection beckoning her forward. What awaited her on the other side of this reunion? Would it be a heartwarming embrace or an echo of the past? Emma steeled herself as she took another step into the garden, her thoughts drifting back to Matt and the promise he held. She had to know the truth about him, about her family, about herself. Would this day change everything? Emma's pulse quickened as she took in the scene before her. The garden was alive, with twinkling lights and vibrant flowers competing for attention. But the real source of emotion stirred beneath the shimmering surface, the presence of her mother, just a few steps away. "Do you think Grandma will be surprised to see us?" Jessica asked, pulling Emma from her spiraling thoughts. The innocence in her daughter's voice brought a small smile to Emma's face. "More than surprised, I hope," she replied, determined to mask the anxiety twisting in her stomach. Jessica squeezed her hand, and together they stepped closer to the gathering crowd. Laughter burst around them, an invitation to join the celebration, yet Emma felt like she stood on the edge of a precipice, hesitant to leap. "Just be yourself," Jessica whispered as they moved through the guests, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Emma nodded, though she couldn't shake the worry gnawing at her heart. And then, amidst the laughter and cheers, her eyes locked onto Sylvia. The moment froze. Time seemed to pause as she took in her mother's familiar smile, the way her hair caught the evening light, the little quirks that reminded Emma of her own childhood. It was a reminder of all that had once felt so whole. "Mom!" Jessica called, breaking the spell. She waved energetically, her little body bouncing with enthusiasm. Sylvia turned, her expression shifting from surprise to unfiltered joy as she rushed toward them. In that moment, Emma felt the breath catch in her throat. What would happen next? Would they embrace, or would silence blanket the moment? Emma. Jessica. Sylvia's arms spread wide, and Emma saw warmth in her mother's eyes. She rushed into the embrace, and the years of distance melted away, if only just for a moment. "I'm so glad you're here," Sylvia exclaimed, her voice thick with emotion. "You both look beautiful." As they stood together, the warmth of the hug resonated deep within Emma, but beneath it lay a streak of uncertainty. They pulled back, and Emma searched her mother's expression. Was this genuine, or just a temporary reprieve from the tension that had clouded their relationship for so long? "I can hardly believe you're here, Emma," Sylvia said, stepping back to assess her daughter fully. "I've missed you so much." "I've missed you too," Emma replied, her heart pounding at the honesty of the words. A moment of silence hung in the air, charged with so many unsaid things. Jessica tugged at her grandmother's dress. "Can we eat cake now?" Their laughter broke through the emotion, providing a welcome distraction. Emma led them toward the dessert table, the layers of cake bright and inviting. As they approached the sweets, she noticed that a few of her family members were watching from a distance, curious about their reunion. "I bet they're happy to see us," she murmured to Jessica, nudging her gently. Jessica rolled her eyes, her excitement still shining. "Or maybe they're planning our wedding." Emma chuckled at the thought, but deep down, the reality was still heavy on her shoulders. "Mom, I was thinking," Emma hesitated, glancing at her mother before continuing, "I really want to talk about everything." Sylvia's expression shifted as she guarded her words. "Of course, we can. Just later, okay?" The pang of disappointment stung, but Emma felt a wall go up between them again. Did her mother think that the wedding wasn't the right time to dig into their rocky past? Then the music changed, shifting to a lively tune that beckoned her to let go, to laugh, to embrace the moment. "Let us dance," Jessica squealed, pulling her grandmother onto the makeshift dance floor. Emma stood back, watching as the two twirled and skipped together, their joy illuminating the night, but through the smiles, Emma felt the weight of unresolved feelings. The promise from Matt loomed in her mind. What could it possibly be, and could it hold the key to her future? As the beat picked up, the crowd around her lost themselves in the moment. Little glimmers of joy surrounded her, yet Emma couldn't shake the images of her fractured relationship with Sylvia that lingered in the corners. Would she ever have the courage to bridge the gap? Would the conversation they desperately needed to have happened today, or would they push it off again? With every passing moment in the garden, the aroma of flowers filling the air, Emma felt like she was standing at a crossroads. The dance floor called to her as her family celebrated, but her heart was tethered to a question that sentiment alone couldn't answer. Then her phone buzzed again, jolting her from her thoughts. Another message from Matt: "Looking forward to seeing you bolder and braver tonight." Tears prickled at the back of her eyes. Was she bravely ready to face the truth? What would the night unveil, and would it be enough to finally reconnect her with her mother? Was this garden a place of healing or just another stage for unspoken wounds? Emma took a step forward, yearning to discover what lay beneath the celebration. Her heart whispered a plea for change. The rhythm pulsed through Emma, inviting her to join the dance. She watched as Jessica giggled, spinning round and round with Sylvia, their laughter merging with the music like a sweet symphony. For a moment, the heaviness in Emma's chest lifted, replaced by warmth seeing the joy radiating from both of them. Yet, the nagging thoughts swirled in her mind, urgent like the flickering lights around them. "Mom!" A shout blared from the crowd, breaking her reverie. "Come dance with us." One of her cousins waved, spreading a sense of joy that felt contagious. Emma forcefully battled the instinct to retreat and instead took a step toward her family. The carefree spirit felt magnetic, but doubt held her back. Just as she was about to take another step, her phone buzzed again. Tension returned as she glanced at the screen. Another message from Matt: sometimes it's the bold choices that lead to the greatest gifts. Emma's heart raced, unsure if the gift would be a joyful resolution or another painful revelation. The thought of confronting the past felt like peering over a ledge, the ground below an inscrutable abyss. But Jessica was right there, beaming up at her, pulling her into the present moment. "Let us dance, Mom," Jessica pleaded, those toddler eyes wide with pure-hearted excitement. "Okay." Just for a minute, Emma finally conceded, unable to resist. She stepped onto the dance floor, where the colorful lights swayed above them. As she got lost in the moment, spinning with Jessica, a flicker of bravery ignited within her. After a few spins and twirls, Emma felt the music shift not only the tempo but something deeper inside her. She spotted Sylvia swaying nearby and, for the first time that night, she saw an invitation in her eyes. With every beat, the distance between them felt less like a chasm and more like a gentle stream that could be crossed. "Dance with me, Mom," Emma called out to Sylvia, extending her hand. The smile that broke across Sylvia's face was bright, almost as if she relieved an entire universe of burden with that simple gesture. She took a step closer, hesitating just long enough for Emma to sense the hesitation. But then, she reached out, grasping Emma's hand. Emma pulled her mother toward the heart of the gathering, the rhythm weaving through their hearts as they moved together. It felt electric, this connection forged again on the dance floor, a silent promise that maybe, just maybe, they could begin to heal. But mid-step, Emma's heart sank, caught in a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. Sylvia whispered something under her breath, something that got lost in the music. "What do you mean?" Emma asked, hearing the question plunge into the dance like a stone. Sylvia's eyes danced with uncertainty. I was talking to your aunt about the past, Emma. It's complicated." A sense of gravity returned, crashing against the moment. The pressing weight of their unfinished conversation hung in the air like suspended notes, waiting to be released. Emma felt the shift. Could they share the truths that would break their silence? Before she could respond, a distant voice piped up. "Hey, Sylvia. Have you met the new guy at the cafe? He's quite the charmer." Emma's stomach twisted. Was that even a relevant distraction? Her mother looked torn, glancing between her and the voice, sensing the shift in Emma's mood. "Can we talk, Mom?" Emma pressed, her heart pounding again. "Later," Sylvia sighed. "Promise." The moment slipped away from them as laughter continued, the joy around them intoxicating yet hollow. Emma felt a rush of disappointment and longing, a yearning for deeper understanding thrumming under her skin. As the music took a slower turn and the crowd started to sway, Emma's thoughts raced. She craved answers, a connection that felt real, not just surface-level smiles and laughter. With determination, she glanced at her phone again, this time contemplating what Matt's messages really meant. It was not just about being bold, it was about being true not just to herself but to the relationships that mattered most. But as the last strains of music faded, Emma felt herself holding her breath in anticipation of Sylvia's next move. Would her mom finally open up, or would they be forever caught in this dance of avoidance? As the night continued, the garden sparkled around them, but inside, Emma felt shadows stirring with unresolved feelings. Would the next moment bring her the insights she longed for, or seal their unresolved past a little deeper? With hope and trepidation, she took a deep breath, ready for whatever came next. Every heartbeat told her something significant was just round the corner. What would it take to finally face the truths that lay buried? The lights dimmed slightly, casting a softer glow over the dance floor as the music slowed. Emma felt the energy shift, an almost magnetic pull in the air. It was as if the world around her faded, leaving just her, Sylvia, and the rhythm that connected them, holding them suspended in time. "Emma," Sylvia began, her voice hesitant but steady. The weight of the moment hung heavy between them. Emma barely breathed, waiting for a truth to spill out, one that could potentially shift everything. Just then, a commotion erupted nearby. A group of teenagers stumbled into the center of the dance floor, arms around each other, laughing loudly. They started an impromptu limbo, inviting others to join in. Emma felt her pulse quicken. This was the last thing she needed right now. As the laughter erupted, Sylvia's eyes darted short moments between the merriment and Emma. Maybe we can talk after this, she murmured, a note of uncertainty in her voice. No. Emma's insides churned with frustration. She wanted to scream, to shake her mother and demand that they dive headfirst into this conversation. The laughter felt like nails against chalkboard, a distraction from the important words that needed to be said. Jessica, caught in the excitement of the limbo, giggled as she attempted to duck under the arms of older kids. Emma felt a spark of joy watching her daughter, but it only sharpened the ache in her heart. Jessica deserved to see her mother happy, unburdened by invisible chains. "Let us join them," Emma said suddenly, surprising even herself. She grabbed Sylvia's hand with a fierceness she didn't know she possessed. They crossed the floor like two ships navigating through a storm, drawn by the laughter and music that covered their troubles. With a whoop, they found themselves among the laughter, attempting to limbo under the high-arching arms. Emma barely made it without stumbling, her laughter mingling with her daughter's pure delight. As she succeeded, the brief euphoria of the moment threatened to drown out her deeper feelings. But even in that joy, the unresolved conversations loomed larger than life. As the game ended, Emma pulled back from the gathering. "I need to talk, Mom," she said, this time with a fierceness that couldn't be ignored. There was no music drowning out her words, just the fading echoes of laughter surrounding them. At last, Sylvia met her gaze, that familiar uncertainty reflected in her eyes. "Okay. Let us step aside for a minute," she replied, guiding Emma to a quieter corner of the garden, where twinkling lights hung from the trees, creating a safe haven. Emma took a moment to steady herself, the moment before a plunge into deep waters. "What did you mean earlier? About talking to Aunt Carol? What's the complicated part?" There was a tremor in her voice, a desperate need for clarity. Sylvia sighed, her shoulders seemingly carrying weight far heavier than the promises left unfulfilled. "It's about Dad. I thought I could protect you from the truth, but I see now I only shielded myself." That statement pierced Emma, sending shards of confusion sparkling in her chest. Why hadn't they discussed this before? Why hadn't Sylvia trusted her enough? Why now? Why not tell me before? Emma's throat constricted, emotions swirling: anger, hurt, disappointment. So many questions spilling forth at once. "Because I was scared. I thought, if I kept the past buried, we could be happy. But I realize now." Sylvia paused, catching her breath. "You deserve to know." Emma's heart raced. This was the opening she had been waiting for but feared. Was it possible that what lay ahead could tear them apart or knit them closer than ever? Would the truth shatter the fragile peace, or was it the thread to stitch their fractured relationship back together? As they stood in that quiet corner, the cool air swirled around them like the dance they had just left behind. Every breath they took carried anticipation. Emma tried to read her mother's face for the answer she so desperately sought. With the moment heavy with promise, Emma whispered, "Then tell me everything." But before Sylvia could respond, a sudden shout erupted from the dance floor. "Look out! There's a Panic swept through the crowd, scattering laughter and dancers alike. Emma turned sharply in response, her heart dropping as she realized the moment they had shared was once again overshadowed by chaos. As Sylvia nodded towards the commotion, the veil of their conversation lifted. "I'll tell you what I can. But right now, what's our game plan?" Emma felt a rush of frustration and determination clash inside her. The situation pressed harder than ever. She longed for resolution, yet reality seemed to conspire against them. "Right," she said, taking a deep breath. "Somehow we'll regroup. But this isn't over." With Sylvia at her side, Emma knew they had glimpsed the depths of their past that night. But would they have the courage to wade through the chaos once the music faded entirely? As the world seemed to swirl around them, she clutched her mother's arm tighter. What would it take to bridge the gap that continued to widen between them? The night still had more to reveal and she was ready to uncover it. The crowd began to settle as the commotion faded, but Emma's heart still raced. She glanced at Sylvia, who appeared more composed, but the tension curled around them like smoke. It felt like the world had shifted, and they were both suspended in this strange limbo between chaos and clarity. "Okay, Mom," Emma said, her voice unsteady, "let us find somewhere more private." Sylvia nodded, and together they maneuvered through the throng, finding a small patch of grass under the sprawling branches of an ancient tree. The vibrant colors of the party flickered in the distance, yet beneath this shade, time felt still. "Now," Emma urged, trying to keep her voice steady. "It's just us. Please, I need to know." Sylvia looked around, unsure whether to start. The distance between them lingered like an old bruise. Finally, she placed her hands on Emma's shoulders and leaned in close, searching her daughter's eyes for understanding. "Your father things weren't what they seemed. I thought I could protect you from the hurt. I thought if I buried it all, we could just move on." Her voice cracked with vulnerability. Emma swallowed hard. "But what's the truth? What did he do? I need to understand." Sylvia hesitated, tears shimmering in her eyes. "He wasn't just gone because of work. He had his demons, Emma. He struggled in ways I never talked about. I was trying to shield you from the fallout, hoping we could build a different future." The weight of those words landed heavily. Emma's mind raced with images of her father, snippets of laughter, memories painted in joy, now tainted with shadows. So, was he sick? She felt anger bubbling within her, anger at the secrets, at being kept in the dark. Sylvia nodded slowly, pain etched in her features. "In some ways, yes. But it wasn't just a physical illness. He battled his own ghosts, and I didn't want you to carry that burden too." Emma turned her gaze away, fighting tears. "Did you ever love him? Was it all a lie?" "No." Sylvia's voice rose slightly, assertive yet soothing. "I loved him deeply. It hurt me to keep these truths from you. But I thought protecting you was more important than sharing my fears." The silence stretched again, heavy and tangible. Emma felt a part of her shatter. But the lies only made it worse, right? She searched Sylvia's eyes desperately for understanding. "Yes, I see that now. I was wrong to think I could carry this alone," Sylvia admitted, her voice softening. "Your relationship with him, even in his absence, needed honesty." The darkness of the past began to illuminate pathways for the future. As Emma processed this revelation, she felt a swell of compassion for her mother. "It wasn't just you, was it? I've kept things from Jessica too. Sometimes it feels easier than facing the truth," she admitted. "That can't heal." Sylvia squeezed her hand gently. "Moments like this remind us that honesty, while painful, is crucial. We owe it to ourselves and to those we love." Just as the tension seemed to dissolve, Jessica's laughter cut through the air again, a buoy of innocent joy. Emma glanced over to see her daughter leading a group of kids in a dance. That spark of happiness brought warmth to their conversation amidst the heavy admissions. "Maybe we both have a lot to share," Emma said softly. "With each other, with Jessica. It's time to face it all." Holding on to that idea, Emma breathed in the moment. The world still spun behind her, loud and chaotic, yet the quiet warmth of connection felt like a promise rather than a weight. They could take steps toward healing together, but as they started to discuss what to do next, the music shifted to a more somber tone, and Emma felt the ground shake beneath her. "What is going on?" A shadow danced across her peripheral vision, and she turned to see the outline of someone approaching them. A figure she recognized too well, someone she had hoped to avoid. "Emma!" Aunt Carol called out. "I need to talk to you, it's important." A rush of dread surged in Emma's chest. The night had turned, and she felt her heart quicken. What could she possibly want now? Sylvia's expression mirrored Emma's worry. They had only begun to confront their past, and here came another layer. What does she know? Emma whispered, panic gripping her insides. As Aunt Carol closed the distance between them, Emma sensed that whatever revelation was about to unfold, it could change everything once more. Was she ready to confront more truths, or were they all about to be ensnared in another web of confusion? Aunt Carol approached with urgency, her features twisted in concern. Emma stood frozen, the warmth of the sun overhead contrasting with the chill creeping up her spine. "Emma, please," Aunt Carol said, her voice laced with emotion. "I need to tell you something. It can't wait." "What is it?" Emma's voice came out sharper than she intended. She felt Sylvia's hand tighten on her arm, a grounding force amid the whirlwind of fear and anticipation. Aunt Carol glanced at Sylvia, then back at Emma, her expression softening. "It's about your father and why he really left us." The words hung in the air between them, heavy and ominous. Emma shook her head, her heart pounding. "I don't want to hear more lies. I just found out so much I thought I was finally understanding." "I know," Aunt Carol replied, her voice trembling. "But this is different. It's not just about the choices he made, it's about who he was at the end." "Then just say it." Emma snapped. "Stop dancing around it." Aunt Carol took a deep breath, her brow furrowing. "He wasn't just struggling with his demons, Emma. He was involved in something much bigger, something dangerous." Emma blinked, confusion coursing through her. "What do you mean? Dangerous how?" "There were risks he took. Decisions that involved people he shouldn't have been with. I thought you deserved to know before it was too late, before Jessica did." Emma's mind raced. "What are you saying? That he was mixed up in something illegal? Something that could hurt us?" "Okay, stop." Sylvia interjected, stepping forward. "Let us take a breath here. This isn't helping anyone." Aunt Carol shook her head. "No, Sylvia. She needs to know. She deserves to understand the choices he made, not just the pain they caused." Emma felt lost, surrounded by voices, each overlapping the other. Was this really the conversation she was ready to have? Was it now that the fog of confusion lifted, only to reveal a darker truth? "Why didn't you tell us before?" Emma demanded, looking at Carol for answers. "You let us suffer without the whole story." "I thought it would protect you," Aunt Carol said, tears welling in her eyes. "I didn't want you to know how deep his troubles went." "Protect me?" Emma echoed incredulously. "You meant to protect yourself. Is this the reason we lost him in the first place?" Aunt Carol flinched. "I'm sorry. I wish things were different. But sometimes love makes people do the wrong things." In that moment, it felt like the ground beneath Emma was crumbling. Every memory of her father shifted like sand, unsteady and unreliable. She fought back tears, not wanting to crumble in front of them. "You don't know what it's like to feel abandoned," Emma whispered, the words barely escaping her lips. "Emma, we're here," Sylvia said softly, wrapping her arms around her daughter. "We need to find a way through this together." But just as the weight of their shared pain began to settle, the loud laughter from the party faded to murmurs. The deep bass of music pulsed from afar, yet the air felt pregnant with tension. "Mom," Emma said, pulling back to look at Sylvia, "who else knows?" Before Sylvia could answer, a loud crash echoed from the direction of the festivities. Gasps erupted as people turned to see. "Please don't let it be worse," Emma whispered, dread pooling in her stomach. It was a moment when uncertainty loomed larger than the crowd. And as Emma prepared herself for whatever would come next, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of a journey into a past filled with shadows she had yet to face. Moments later, the crowd erupted into chaos, a stampede of panic rising like smoke from a fire. "What's happening?" Emma shouted, grasping Sylvia's hand in a vice-like grip. "We have to get Jessica." Sylvia screamed over the rising panic. "Where is she?" Emma's voice was filled with urgency. And as they turned to find their way back into the crowd, a single question lingered in Emma's mind. What truth awaited them in the chaos that could unravel everything once again? The panic around them surged like a wild wave, sweeping away any sense of direction. Emma gripped Sylvia's hand tighter, her heart racing as they pushed through the sea of confused faces. "Over there." Sylvia pointed, her voice barely breaking through the chaos. Emma followed her gaze to where a cluster of people had gathered, their faces etched with worry. The noise was deafening, shouts and cries blended into a jarring symphony of fear. They hurried towards the crowd, and as they neared, Emma caught sight of Jessica, their bright-eyed, ever-cheerful cousin, sitting on the ground, tears streaming down her cheeks. She was looking up at a dark figure kneeling beside her. Emma's gut twisted as she fought through the final few bodies to reach her. "Jessica!" Emma shouted, her voice breaking as she knelt beside her cousin, brushing sweat-soaked hair from Jessica's face. "What happened?" I don't know," Jessica stammered, her voice shaky. "I was dancing, and then there was a loud crash, and everyone just started running." Sylvia glanced around, her eyes sharp and scanning the chaos. "Was anyone hurt?" she asked the crowd, her protective instincts kicking in. "Just some fallen decorations," someone nearby cried out, but the words were swallowed quickly by another wave of questions and panicked voices. "Just decorations?" Emma echoed, unsure if the relief she felt was deserved. But the dread inside her nagged harder. Each moment they spent here felt fraught with unseen dangers, lurking just out of sight. Suddenly, Aunt Carol appeared at her side, her expression paler than Emma had ever seen. "We need to get everyone out of here," she said, urgency spilling from her every word. "Whatever happened, it could still be dangerous." Emma nodded, her thoughts turning for a quick moment back to the conversation they had just had. With every word Aunt Carol had dropped, the cracks in their family history widened. How could they fight shadows from the past while trying to protect their future? "Okay, let us go," Sylvia urged, her voice rising above the commotion. She helped Jessica to her feet and took hold of her other hand. "Emma, grab Aunt Carol." The four of them began to move, slowly at first, then faster as the adrenaline kicked in. Emma's mind was racing with a torrent of thoughts, questions lingering, memories of her father ripping through the fabric of everything she thought she knew about him. Suddenly, they broke free from the throng, stepping into a small clearing, the music pulsing in the background as a stark reminder of normalcy. Emma glanced behind them, half expecting some calamity to follow them. "Everyone okay?" Aunt Carol asked, breathless. "I'm fine," Jessica said quickly, brushing away her tears. "Just scared, pretty much." "Same here," Emma added, her heart still racing. But why did it all happen like that? What really crashed? Aunt Carol opened her mouth, but before she could respond, a loud siren echoed nearby, an urgent wail that made everyone in the clearing look towards its source. "Do we need to get out of here?" Emma's heart dropped. "What else is happening?" As if in response, a group of emergency responders burst onto the scene. Their faces were serious, eyes focused as they surveyed the chaos. Emma's stomach churned, every instinct told her this was only the beginning of something much bigger. A moment later, one of the responders approached, urgency driving his every step. "We need to speak to the event organizers. There's been a report of something suspicious nearby." Emma's breath caught in her throat. Suspicious? What did that even mean? The very idea sent chills down her spine, bringing her worries about her father crashing back like a wave. "Mom," she said, her voice trembling. What if this is about him?" The look Sylvia shot her spoke volumes: fear, confusion, dread. But in Emma's gut, a new kind of resolve was forming. If there were answers to be found in this chaos, she would confront them head-on. With the crowd around them buzzing and whispers of panic circulating, Emma felt a slow, insistent flame of determination ignite within her. More than just her family's history was at stake now. Whatever happens next, Emma took a deep breath, I have to know the truth. All of it. And just as she prepared to step into the storm of uncertainty ahead, a strange figure appeared from the shadow of the crowd, an unmistakable silhouette that made Emma's heart skip. Emma! He called, an urgent yet familiar tone in his voice. Wait. We need to talk. Her blood ran cold. The last person she expected to see now stood before her, carrying a weight of secrets that may change everything. Emma's heart raced as she turned to face the voice that shattered the chaos around her. It wasn't just any face, it was her father's brother, Mark, a man she hadn't seen in years. He was supposed to be living his life far away, free from their family drama. Yet there he was, looking worn, frantic, and unlike the jovial figure she remembered from her childhood. Mark? She whispered, half in disbelief. What are you doing here? Emma. He rushed forward, his urgency palpable. I know this looks bad, but you need to listen to me. There's something important you should know. The air felt thick, the noise around them fading as Emma tried to process his words. Her mind flashed back to all the stories about him, about how he distanced himself from the family after her father's passing. She remembered hearing snippets of talk, whispers about secrets too painful to bear. Now? She asked, her voice low and edged with skepticism. What could possibly be so urgent? There's so much going on, Mark replied, glancing nervously over his shoulder, as if someone might be watching. I can't explain everything here. Just trust me. It's about your dad, it's about the past and what could happen next. Her heart pounded as memories of her father's tumultuous life flooded her thoughts. It felt wrong that he would give her answers after all this time. I don't want to hear about family secrets anymore. Everything's falling apart, and you show up with I'm here because I care. Mark interrupted, his expression shifting from urgency to hurt. Because things aren't what they seem. I've spent years trying to figure it all out, and now I fear it's too late. He reached for her arm, desperation etched on his face. Emma stiffened at the contact, memories tumbling forward of the last family gathering, the heated arguments, and all the silences in between. Let me just explain, he pleaded. I promise it's not what you think. Sylvia stepped closer, eyeing Mark suspiciously. How can we trust you? She asked, her voice steady. Emma admired her friend's protective instinct, but this was her family. Her father's shadow loomed large, thickening the tension in the air. This isn't just about trust. It's about our safety. What do you know? She said, needing to know not just for herself, but for her mother, Jessica, and Aunt Carol, too. Mark hesitated but then nodded slowly, as though he weighed his words carefully. I have information about what really happened years ago. The stories you heard about your dad weren't just rumors. It's connected to all of this. He gestured wildly toward the chaotic aftermath of the event, a crowd still buzzing nervously nearby. What do you mean? Emma felt her stomach twist. They're just false stories, right? Just family drama? No, he hissed, glancing nervously again. There are deeper connections, and now someone is trying to cover it up. I was following leads and then this. A deep intake of breath echoed through her as she wrestled with uncertainty. She battled feelings of betrayal and curiosity, clinging to the hope that maybe, just maybe, there was a truth out there, a truth that could finally piece her fragmented family history together, even at the risk of danger. Emma, please, Mark pressed, leaning in, urgency swirling in his eyes. We need to leave this place. I can't let you go back to your home without knowing the whole story. But before she could respond, Jessica, still shaken, tugged at Emma's sleeve. This is all too much. We can't just trust him. What if he's involved in whatever's happening? Emma wrestled with every thought spiraling in her mind. The fear wrapping around her heart squeezed tighter as she caught Mark's reflection, his fervent desire to protect her somehow driving a tiny inkling of trust. "Which way? Where do we go?" she had to ask. "Follow me," he said, taking a step back into the chaos. A twinge of doubt clawed at her, but she couldn't let fear blind her to seeking the truth. As they turned to navigate the retreating crowd, Emma's resolve solidified. This could very well be the turning point, the moment that would rewrite everything she thought she knew. Yet before they could make their move, a distant siren approached, cutting through the air with an eerie precision. "Emma! Wait!" Mark called, urgency lacing his words, as he suddenly seemed to hesitate, like he was hiding something else, and just like that, the shadows of the past loomed larger, pulling her further into uncertainty. What had he not told her? What other secrets lay shrouded in this chaotic night? As Emma grasped her cousin's hand tightly, she felt a cold pulse surge through her veins, the questions mounting as much as the dread. In the back of her mind, the stirring question echoed, what if the truth was far more dangerous than they all anticipated? Emma gripped Jessica's hand tighter as they followed Mark through the labyrinth of chaos. Her heart raced, an unsettling mix of fear and determination fueling her steps. The sirens grew louder, but she focused instead on the strange man guiding her through the crowd, his urgency intertwining with her own anxiety. "Just keep close," Mark urged, glancing behind him as if expecting someone to chase after them. "Where are we going?" Emma asked, bewildered. "Somewhere safe," Mark replied, his eyes wild with a mix of fear and resolve. "I promise, it's important. You need to know everything." The crowd began to thin out ahead, illuminated by flickering lights, revealing a small, deserted courtyard tucked away from the noise and confusion. Emma, still gripping Jessica's hand, hesitated before stepping into the dimly lit space, the weight of the moment pressed down hard. Sitting now under a canopy of leaves, it felt like entering the eye of the storm. "What is going on? Just tell me," Emma said, her voice rising with anxiety. Mark took a deep breath, his resolve faltering for just a moment. "Your dad wasn't who you think he was. He got involved with people who weren't just any ordinary crowd. It was bigger, messier. I didn't know until I started piecing things together after the funeral." Emma's body froze, her heart pounding with fragmented memories. Her father had always seemed distant, but was it more than that? "What do you mean by bigger?" "It's about debts and choices he made." Mark's brow creased. "I thought if I stayed away, I could protect you from the truth. But now, I'm scared someone might come for you because of his past." The implications brought a chill down Emma's spine. "Why didn't you tell us sooner? Why keep this hidden?" "Because I thought it would protect you. I thought burying it would heal us. But running from the truth only deepens the scars." The regret was palpable in his voice. Behind them, the faint sound of footsteps echoed nearer, and she could sense the tension enveloping them again. "Emma, you have to listen carefully. You need to be brave. There are things at play that reach deeper than just family drama. It's dangerous." Emma felt Jessica squeeze her hand in fear. She looked down, meeting her daughter's eyes, which mirrored her own uncertainty. "Mom, I don't like this. Can we just go back?" "No," Emma whispered, drawing strength from Jessica's innocence. She turned back to Mark. "What do you know? We can't go back until we know." Mark's expression darkened as he glanced behind them. "I overheard things. Your dad was in trouble before he left. And it didn't just disappear, it slipped into the shadows, and now, it's trying to drag you back with it. I came to warn you." "What do you mean? What kind of trouble?" Emma pressed, her words urgent. Before Mark could respond, a tall figure emerged from the shadows of the courtyard, a looming presence that felt both familiar and terrifying. Emma gasped. "What are you doing here?" It was her mother, Sylvia, her face etched with concern and anger. I told you not to move away from the crowd. What are you thinking, Emma? Mom, you don't understand. Mark is Sylvia cut her off, her tone sharp as ever. I don't care who he is. We need to get you and Jessica back to safety now. No. Emma retorted, a fierceness she didn't know she possessed igniting within her. We need answers. If there is something to protect, I need to know. I can't just run away like you did before. Startled by Emma's resolve, Sylvia hesitated. What do you mean? The past isn't over. It's affecting us now. And if I don't understand what happened, I'll never feel safe in this family again. Emma's voice rose with every word, urgency mixing with pent-up pain. Sylvia began but faltered, her expression softening, wrestling against her instinct to shield. Mark stepped forward. I'm here because I care about you both. This is bigger than what you know. Your father's legacy isn't just about memories and laughter, it's tangled in shadows. Satisfaction danced in Emma's heart as she saw Sylvia's resolve weaken. If we're going to face this, we do it together, Sylvia finally admitted, her voice trembling with understanding. Tears pooled in Emma's eyes, but this time, they were tears of hope and revelation. We'll figure this out together, won't we? Emma whispered, sharing a small smile with Jessica, whose eyes shimmered with trust beneath the uncertainty. Just then, the siren's wail surged once again, echoing through the courtyard, feeling like a warning. They stood at the edge of a reckoning, a promise waiting to unfold before them. Then let us go, Emma said, ready to take on whatever lay ahead. That moment, bathed in vulnerability and courage, marked an indelible shift. Together, as a family, they were ready to confront the specters of the past. As they began to move towards the glow of the party lights, Emma felt the bonds tightening, wrapping around them in solidarity. They wouldn't just battle against the shadows, they would rise together, finding a way to mend the cracks of their history and seize control of their shared future. And with hearts filled with tenderness and resolve, they stepped forward into the unknown, hopeful that through each small, brave step, they could piece together the legacy that truly defined them. The end of their story wasn't a finish line. It was an invitation to begin anew. Emma could feel it, hope hovering like the gentle glow of the setting sun, illuminating the path ahead, but this was just the beginning. So, what will you do next? Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep the adventures coming. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about the ending, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. True fans understand the importance of standing with the channel through these actions.